folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at this MOKIN 120 watt foldable solar panel, and I'm going to compare it directly to my all-time favorite 120 watt solar panel from MOKIN. This is the solar panel that I use as a baseline pretty much for all of my smaller 100 to 200 watt solar panels because this thing performs so well. There's a lot of similarities in these two, so I think it's going to be a pretty fair comparison. Now the price on this MOKIN right now is $187. The price on the MOKIN is $199. Now this MOKIN actually offers a few more outputs on it that I'll go over with you, but we're going to be comparing these two directly to see if this thing can perform well because I really like this MOKIN solar panel. Okay, comes packaged pretty nicely. Okay, so you got your standard little owner's manual, and so far, I haven't even opened it up yet, but so far it feels really nice. It's got this canvas type material on the outside. You've got what appears to be a weather stripping zipper where all your cords and your input and outputs are going to be. And you're going to get a 5521 to an XT60 cord. You're going to get an Anderson to a 5521, and you're going to get a 5521 to 5521. And it also looks like it comes with a couple of barrel adapters, DC barrel adapters. So you're going to get 3 different barrel connectors for probably your 3 most typically used DC inputs on our power stations. Okay, and inside this case, you do have a kickstand. Which, how do these open? Okay, flap. Oh, that's pretty cool. So it's adjustable somewhat. So it's got 3 buttons here on the side of the kickstand with a snap on this piece. So it looks like you have about 3 inches to adjust the angle with this little snap feature. So we'll go ahead and get that set up. Let's close this thing up. Well, while I'm in here, let me discuss what this little box is right here. So this is going to be where you actually connect your DC to DC cord to your battery or your power station. So you're going to connect it right here, and then this end is where you're going to either use these barrel adapters or some other type of input to actually get to your power station to provide power for it. Then you've got a Type C USB power delivery output port. So you can power a device directly from this solar panel and not actually have to plug it into your power station. Now this is a 65 watt power delivery output, and you also have 2 USB-A ports that are quick charge ports. So you can plug in like a phone cord with a USB-A directly into this little module right here and then charge your phone or your laptop directly from these quick charge USB-A. So that's pretty cool. So let's get these cords out of the way and let's open this thing up and see if it's got the ETFE coating and whatnot, but I do like the handle. The handle's pretty thick, if you can get a good look at that. So it feels pretty good holding it. And it weighs 12 pounds, so it's not very heavy. But it looks like it's, okay, so it's magnet closure. Not super strong, but it holds it in place. So yeah, very similar to my MOKIN with that real rough ETFE coating on it. How do you, okay, so there's Velcro on this side to open it up. Okay, now on the back, you're gonna get 1, 2, and then remember it here in this third one, you've got a third kickstand. Which means though, which is kind of weird, you have to keep this flap open. You cannot use this kickstand. I mean, you can kind of close it. Well, no, not really. So, kind of a, I guess, weird design, but I'm glad it has it. I don't know why this panel does not have a kickstand. So you only get 3 kickstands, but it should be good enough for the length of the solar panel. But yeah, really nice looking solar panel, I think. It very similar to the MOKIN. Oh, and we got a loose thread here. but that's okay. That's not going to affect anything. But the length of this thing, fully opened, from handle to handle, we're looking at 63 inches by 21 inches. So not a very big solar panel. Okay, and to close this thing back up, grab it in the middle and fold it. Zip this thing up. And we're ready to go. So let me give you folks a couple of critical numbers for this solar panel so you can pair it up or match it well to a power station. Open circuit voltage is 22.2 volts. Short circuit current is 6.55 amps. And the power voltage on this is a 20 volt solar panel. So this really should power most of our power stations, unless they're just really, really small power stations that can't accept, 75 or 100 watts. I don't have any of those, but this should be able to power most of them. Now, some of your really big power stations actually require a minimum of 30 volts to kickstart that MPPT controller built into them. So if you have like a really large power station and you go to plug this into it and you don't see any input, it might be because your power station needs more solar input to actually kickstart that MPPT controller. So I ran into that issue and didn't realize what was going on at one point in time. So ask me how I know that. But let's get this thing out in the sun and see what kind of power we can get from it and compare it to the Quinta. Okay folks, so sorry I couldn't get this power station in the garage to get a better view, but I've got my Bouge RV connected up to this MOKIN 120 watt panel. And if I can get in here tight enough, you can see we're pulling 84 watts right now, 83 watts off of that panel. And we're down to 70 watts now. So it's kind of fluctuating back up to 80, 85, 82. So let's say on average 80 watts. I'm going to plug in my Quinta, and you can see both are pretty much the exact same angle. So I'm going to take the Quinta cable, plug in the Quinta, there we go, 50 watts, 70, 81 watts, 82. So the Quinta is pretty much performing exactly, I would say, the same as this MOKIN, right around 80 to 85 watts. Again, here's the setup. Let's give it one more check. We're at 84 watts. Okay, just keep everyone honest. Let's unplug it, get that out of the way, and now let's go back to the MOKIN. We're gonna have to give this thing a second to register it. There we go. 80 watts. Whoa, where'd that come from? Kind of hovering. Okay, back to 80. Down to 73. I do have some wispy clouds up there too, kind of flying around. Okay. Well, there we go. I'd say pretty much these two are pretty much on par with each other in terms of output I'm able to get out of them. All right, guys, so I actually found my watt meter I was looking for, and you can see here we're kind of fluctuating again between 78 to 86. I haven't seen it get up to 90 yet, but I would say this thing is averaging around 80 to 85 watts. Pulling just a little over 5 amps at almost 17 volts. Yep, and clouds are coming over now, but there's 85 again. So I would say this thing right now, in the temperature that I'm at and the current weather conditions, I'm averaging around 80 to 85 watts off of this 120 watt panel. All right, well that concludes the little test on this MOKIN 120 watt solar panel. A couple of things to note: if you see me get up and run away, it's because there's a wasp somewhere in this garage that I can't get out. So just a forewarning for all you folks, but back to the solar panel. It did well. It did almost just as good as my Eleganta solar panel that, again, I use as a baseline for pretty much all of my solar panel testing, because I do find that Eleganta solar panel to perform really, really well. And this was right on par with the Eleganta, give or take 3 or 4 watts. But it's really hard to compare at different times because a cloud could fly over the sun, and you never know. But it was pretty much on par with the Eleganta. The only thing, well, I like the construction of this almost a little bit more. I like the handle on this a little bit more than the Eleganta. The only thing I don't like about this solar panel is the DC jack to actually connect to your power station. So the Eleganta has a hardwired DC cord that you cannot pull out. This, you actually have to plug it in to this little module box in here, right there. And I found twice it actually came unplugged on accident because I tripped over it, or it just kind of wiggled its way loose. I wish this cord was actually hardwired into this little module control panel so that doesn't happen. That's the only thing that I've seen on this solar panel that I'm not as big of a fan of comparing it to the Eleganta. But other than that, though, it did pretty well. And there's going to be a lot of people that ask, well, why are you only getting 80 to 85 watts worth of solar energy on a perfectly clear day? Couple of reasons. It's over 100 degrees here in Texas right now, and the hotter it is, the less efficient solar panels are. 70 degrees is a perfect temperature to test solar panels. When it gets above that, the hotter it gets, the less watts these things actually put out, believe it or not. It seems counterintuitive, but that's how it is. And again, it might look clear up there, but there's always haze in the sky. There's always going to be a little fluff of cloud or something that you can't really see with your eyes that's going to be between your sun and the solar panels that's going to affect the performance of these. So it's almost virtually impossible to ever get the full rated output. You can on a perfect day, but it's really hard to get those. So it's good to see solar panels get within 20 to 30 watts of their rated output. We were a little bit short, but I was short on my Eleganta too. They're both 120 watt panels. Both, again, I'm going to say average between 80 to 85 watts, but I think it's a pretty good solar panel. It's actually $3 or $4 cheaper right now than the Eleganta. So, keep an eye out for sales, because these things go on sale all the time, little limited time deals on Amazon. But I do think it's a pretty good option for a smaller size, more compact solar panel to throw in your truck or car or RV if you just need a little bit of juice. So, yeah, gang, here is the MOKIN 120 watt solar panel. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Take care.